Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat for the week of June 9th, 2015. I am your host, Jose Otero, and this is the big E3 2015 rundown. Joining me this week, Brian Altano.
What's E3?
That show called the Electronic Entertainment Expo that takes place every year in Los Angeles for the past 16 years? More than that.
Is that next week?
Yeah, it's next week. Big time show. And joining us to also talk about the big show is, I almost said Brian twice, Per Schneider.
Guten Abend.
How you doing, man? Dude, there's a Wiener Schnitzel place by my house. Should I try it? Yeah,
Well,
it looks like takeout-ish small. Should I try that?
Well,
Wiener
Wiener Schnitzel is an American hot dog chain. And the word Wiener Schnitzel means pork cutlet or veal cutlet
I've
from
been meaning
Vienna.
to text you about this with
so
photos.
the two things are not that related.
Okay.
Do you know I spent 5 minutes at lunch today explaining to Naomi Kyle how to say that word?
What?
Wiener Schnitzel.
Wiener Schnitzel?
She was saying Wiener Schnitzel.
But
That's how I
But
say
can
it,
you guys?
yeah.
So I've never been to a Wiener Schnitzel, but can you guys confirm that they don't actually have Wiener Schnitzel? Because it's like somebody in Germany calling like a hamburger place hot dogs are us or something. Like, it makes no sense.
I will take pictures of the menu and send them to you. Okay.
Find out if they have
So,
Wiener Schnitzels.
on this episode of the
I wanna go to Hot
illustrious
Dogs R Us now.
podcast that we call home, we are going to go through everything that we can about Nintendo E3.
Yes.
We're going to start talking about last year. A few months ago, of course, we dropped some E3 2015 predictions. We did that already as a show. Brian came back from somewhere. I think you were at Star Wars Celebration. You came back and
He
you
was
dropped
at
some
Star Wars.
Yeah, he was at.
I was
he
on my
in
honeymoon.
Star Wars. No, that wasn't your honeymoon. We already did that, but it doesn't matter. We're going to look at more of the bigger picture, right? There's a bunch of software on the books
Yeah.
for Nintendo. There's a bunch of announcements. We're going to spend a lot of time doing that. But before we do that, there is a Smash Brothers Direct on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a nice surprise. 7:45 in the morning Pacific time. So if you live on California coast, wake up early. That's going to be weird time. It's nice and early. But I think Jose and I were kind of speculating they're getting a lot of that stuff out of the way because it won't be anywhere near
That's right.
their actual digital event. I keep wanting to call it a press conference.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're getting the stuff like Lucas and the Miiverse stage,
Well-
right? The kind of stuff that's already known out of the way.
Well,
We don't know what's
I
gonna
think
happen
there's more.
later.
So the email they sent announcing this thing says an update on June 14th brings new content to Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Nintendo
Yep.
3DS, including Lucas from Mother 3 as a playable character, a new Wii U Miiverse stage, and Mii Fighter costumes inspired by Splatoon. That's not only what this Direct has
No,
to be
of
about.
course.
There
There'll
has
be-
to be something. So let's go through some quick predictions then. Obviously, let's say it. Character announcements, right? There has to be character announcements
Yep.
and costume DLC. That's what they've already said.
Yeah.
But what else is there? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I almost feel like whenever they announce a character, they're also going to pull another one out of their hat, like a future character announcement.
Yeah.
I do think that there's one part of it, and but you know, like Smash Brothers is still is big enough and still fresh enough in everybody's minds that they could use that in their primetime show too, not just the pre E3
I don't know.
thing.
You look at last year's digital event. I was talking to Brian about this off mic. I don't think the digital event is a focus on DLC for them. I
Yeah.
think digital event is new gameplay, new games. That's it.
All right.
There are even games they sacrifice, and we're going to talk about that when we recap last year's digital event.
Yeah, I also
quickly.
think just sort of like as a company theory, they're less inclined to hit everybody as hard as they can in that 1 hour, and they've been more disjointed and splittering things out a little bit more. I mean, we're getting a direct on Sunday morning. We got one last week. Treehouse Live, I presume, will keep going as usual, and we're going to get a bunch of little breakout stories from that. It's not as much like Sony and Microsoft coming out and being like, "This is our hour to really hit hard." Nintendo's sort of just like, "We have all week."
Well, and they
you know?
cherry pick that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like the digital event has certain things they're going to talk about. But okay, so let's see. There was a Smash Brothers ballot. Do you think we get an update on that? Like, will they finally start talking about who is sort of the front runner to be in Smash Brothers
Yeah,
after
none
these
of that.
characters?
None of that voting was ever frontward facing, right? We
They
didn't
haven't
actually
told
see-
us. No, I know.
So I have a feeling they will come in, like even if maybe some of those characters aren't ready to show yet, because like it feels very tight to have this ballot close and then have the character develop, and you know those guys are always obsessive over balance, unless they create like an archetype, like they're creating a clone of Captain Falcon or something with like somebody like, you know, some other classic character from a third party or from Nintendo. That could also happen, right? That they're just putting a character clone in there. But I have a feeling, yes, I do think they'll announce other characters, and it's got to be someone who was high on the ballot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so I theorized this about a little bit about this last week, but I think Wolf is a good pick. He's a good guess because he's part of the old roster.
Yeah.
He's not licensed. It's easier to bring him back than it is to bring back Snake. That's kind of a nightmare right now. But there's a couple other characters. You know, I remember like there was a trophy that got leaked out way early of Rayman. There was metadata that people found in the game for Ryu.
That's right.
That was.
Yeah.
We don't know if that was. I mean, is that Ninja Gaiden? Is that
No. I believe the Reddit
Street
post
Fighter,
pointed out. I think it was stage music for Ryu from Street Fighter,
Okay.
Yeah.
and Roy from Fire Emblem.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's kind of
Who has
interesting.
been in Smash Bros.
And
before,
because
sorry.
I remember when
Siegfried, too.
when people found
Roy with the white Taiga.
when people got the Smash Brothers disc, even early, they were tearing it apart, which
Yeah.
is like you don't see that so often with video games these days anymore. It's really cool but Smash Brothers is just one of those things everybody wants to pour over every little secret. So yeah, I 100% think it'll be new characters. I really do want Rayman just because he doesn't have actual limbs, and I want to see how that looks.
But I feel like he is not as popular as like if it's Ryu from
Yeah.
Capcom from Street Fighter. That's a more popular
That's a big deal.
crowd pleaser. Whereas Rayman is kind of like the expected one. I mean, I think. Yeah.
That would be a nice surprise after
Yeah.
the partnership with Capcom too, just to put Mega Man in there.
Yeah.
Like that was very positively received. Like
Yeah.
everybody loved
Yeah,
that
actually, I
thing.
didn't think about that because Mega Man's already sort of like he's got that He opened up the back door for Capcom there on that one.
pretty
So
much.
that's interesting.
So before we move on, I do want to say I'm wondering when does Nintendo finally commit to stage DLC for Smash Brothers?
Yeah.
They have not. Like the stage selection is plentiful. I'm not complaining, but I'm surprised that's not part of the package.
Have they not coupled any stage announcements with any of the recent characters?
Except for the Miiverse stage, no.
That was it,
Yeah,
right?
And
Yeah,
that was in
that's
the 50
interesting. Yeah.
facts for Smash Brothers.
I wish, but
thing.
that would be the kind of the best approach, right? Like you get a character and the associated stage and
Yeah.
the music with it, right? Like
Yeah.
that would be, I think, the right
Versus the
approach.
costumes, I don't think. I mean, I'm only talking from my own experience, so I'm not trying to
Yeah.
represent Nintendo fans all over the planet here. But the Smash Brothers Mii fighter outfits don't seem like a huge deal to me and to a lot of my friends. But
I don't know
maybe
that
they're
many
announcing
people
more.
who play as them. I think
No.
that's the core issue, right? Like maybe some younger gamers are really taken by the Mii
Hope so.
characters.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool. Like the costumes are kind of neat, right? Like you can do a lot of stuff without having to add and balance,
Yes.
rebalance the entire game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to do that kind of stuff.
So I mean, the one workaround for that would be to, and this is kind of heady, but if you were able to fight as any character in the game as a Mii character, basically, and that basically would be totally broken.
Yeah.
But that's the only way to do it, because otherwise it's like, yeah, I do want to play as KK Slider, but like he's not my guy in Smash, you know, or like the Mii fighter's not my guy in Smash. So like to shoehorn in those outfits, like I have to play as somebody I don't want to play as, and
Yeah.
that defeats the purpose of me playing Smash Brothers to begin with.
Yeah.
You know?
I still bought the Majora's Mask outfit even though I haven't used it.
Right, 'cause
Like,
it's-
truth be told,
Yeah.
I did immediately go, oh, yep, I'm buying that. All right, lastly, tournament mode still has not come out. I wonder if there'll be an update on that. They did sort of promise in the 50 facts about Smash tournament mode would happen.
Yeah.
It is now June, and so far has not. So
Yeah.
there'll probably be an update on that. All right, so
But
moving on.
I mean, there's always that wild card, right, where you just don't know what they're gonna do to the game. Just remember what happened with Mario Kart. Like,
Yep.
if they're introducing like a Street Fighter character, you could imagine they'll do something where they add, dash, where they do like ultra, they go fast, even faster than what is built into the game, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I could imagine them playing off that concept again, like they did with Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's right.
Go
Oh, so
super
like
speed.
200
Yeah.
cc,
Right.
like 200,
Yeah.
speed Smash Brothers.
That'd
I
be
like
awesome.
that. That would be fun.
Street Fighter. Like
Super Smash Brothers Street Fighter.
Dash Ultimate Edition.
I mean, if it is Ryu, that's a pretty easy stage to make. It's
Yep.
basically already Final Destination. It's just
That's
that
right.
flat background,
Yeah,
flat
that's right.
ground.
Very cool. All right.
Hadouken!